Hello again. Welcome back. A new hour, a new extra hour for you and for me. So, without any further ado, let's get going. Let's get started. Let's get this show on the road, shall we? All right. Yesterday, I asked you a question. Asked you. La calle ask, me la como. I asked you. Me cuesta a mí. Asked you. I asked you. I asked you. Yesterday, I asked you about wolves and coyotes. You remember, I asked you, are wolves and coyotes the same animal? No, they're not. Coyotes are closer to dogs than to wolves. Coyotes have tails that almost touch the ground. Wolves don't. And coyotes have trouble with roadrunners. Don't you remember? The roadrunner, el correcaminos, beep, beep, boo. You remember it's a coyote who had problems and always tried to catch the roadrunner with all of that Acme equipment and material. So, and wolves know. So, a roadrunner is un correcaminos. A coyote or coyote, we say both, is coyote. Is a type of animal that's, I repeat, I think it's closer to a dog than to a wolf. But, like wolves, they howl. Dogs howl as well. Ooh, to howl. I don't howl. At least not when I'm teaching English or on the radio. To howl. When the full moon, I go out on the balcony and howl. Not true. Because I'm not a werewolf or a wolf man. But nevertheless, wolves and coyotes are not the same animal. Okay? Another question. Do you always look forward to going to the dentist? No. I never look forward to going to the dentist. Well, that's not exactly true. I remember one moment where I had a very loose crown of sorts, a crown corona, and it was very loose and I needed to go, and so I was looking forward to going to fix the crown because it was uncomfortable. But except for that moment, no, I never look forward to going to the dentist. My God. Do you? To look forward to going, to look forward to seeing, to look forward to taking. Siempre ing, please. That's a common mistake that people make here. With high levels of English, you catch them on look forward. They use the infinitive. I look forward to see you. No. I look forward to seeing you. And this expression, to look forward to, is extremely common in English. It simply means esperar con ilusión. Que algo pase o de hacer algo, lo que sea. Espero con ilusión veros de nuevo. I look forward to seeing you again, or I'm looking forward. You can say it in the present continuous or in the present simple. We look forward to your visit. Esperamos con gran ilusión tu visita. We look forward to your visit, or we are looking forward to your visit. Pero si hay un segundo verbo, to look forward to, más gerundio, más verbo. We're looking forward to having you with us. We're looking forward to receiving you here. We're looking forward to enjoying your company. We are looking forward to going to New York. We're looking forward to visiting New York. I'm looking forward to attending some Broadway shows. To look forward to. Very, very common. I'm looking forward to the weekend. Tomorrow I'm going to the book fair. I'm looking forward to going to the book fair. I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of people. Are you looking forward to improving your English? Espero usted con ilusión seguir mejorando su inglés. Are you looking forward to the next program? This program? The program after this? I think we have Guy Williams. Yes. Are you looking forward to Guy's class? I recommend that you stick around because, let's see, my program in the morning from 7:30 to 9:30 is repeated from 8 to 10 in the evening. And then from 10 to 11 is my extra hour. And then from 11 to 12, we have Guy Williams and Western Civilization. Now, I always look forward to listening to Guy. Siempre espero con ilusión escucharle. a las 11. It's true. I always look for, if I have a chance, I listen to him because I learn a lot with Guy. And I don't need to listen to him to improve my English. Guy Williams is from San Francisco, from Marin County, just across the Golden Gate Bridge from San Francisco proper. He's from that area. He's an only child, a very intelligent man, a very pleasant and very personable guy. And his name is Guy. Guy is a French name, Guy. G-U-I, Guy de Maupassant, was a very famous French short story writer from the second half of the 19th century and very, very early 20th, I believe. But Guy Williams is an outstanding individual, un tipo sobresaliente, fuera de serie. He's an outstanding individual. And we've been working together. I met him in 1994, I believe. 93 or 94. And so we've been together for about 25 years working. And he has always had programs on the radio. And of course his programs are always full of erudition. It's for people who are looking for intellectual stimulation. Guy Williams is the guy for you. He's the man. All right, and so I always look forward to his programs. I always look forward to listening. Junio, repito, to listening to his programs. I always look forward to tuning in to his show at 11 o'clock at night. And I always look forward to coming here and recording the extra hour. I always look forward to coming to my company every morning at 7:30 to start my Richard Vaughan live show. Yes. And I always look forward to taking my holidays and going back to the States. I always look forward to going back to Texas or to Florida, to New York or to Oklahoma. I always look forward to going back to the States. I need to breathe American life a little bit every year. To breathe, respirar, una vida diferente. It's very different, the way people live there than in Europe. And so I like Europe too. I like Spain. But I need a release of maybe 1 month out of every year. A release, liberación. No, I'm not a prisoner in Europe nor in Spain. But I do need to go back to my roots in a different way of life, a different approach. Not necessarily better or worse, but just different. I grew up in that atmosphere. I still consider myself, I would say I'm 99% American, 1% Spanish. But I enjoy Spanish life. But I'm American down to the marrow. Down to the marrow. Down to the marrow. Okay, means hasta la médula, hasta el tuétano. Del hueso, dentro del hueso está el marro. Marro escrito. Pronunciado marrow. Como Mary, María, pero marrow. And we say hasta la médula. We say down to the marrow. Añadimos down. Down to the marrow. Now, bone marrow, que es tuétano o médula ósea, is the word we use in medical terminology para esos trasplantes de médula ósea, often used when somebody suffers leucemia. Leukemia, es una K dura en inglés, leukemia. Como Luis, leukemia. It's easy to say in English, leukemia. In Spanish, leucemia is more difficult in my opinion, but leukemia. And if a person suffers leukemia, usually another member of his or her family, let's say volunteers for bone marrow transplants. A little bit painful, but it's your brother or your sister or your father or your son. And so, of course, we volunteer for bone marrow transplants. Okay, down to the marrow, I'm American. But I have adapted very well to Spain, and I enjoy Spanish life, and I love Spain. So, I have the best of both worlds. I have the best of both worlds. I enjoy life here. I enjoy the food. I enjoy the people. I enjoy teaching the people here. I don't like the political maneuverings. I think there's a lot of wasted energy, wasted motion, and wasted opportunities, of course. But that's probably true in every country, not only Spain. So it's not a Spanish problem, it's a universal problem of political power, how to govern a country or a city or a region, how to govern. It's never been solved. Nobody has ever said, this is the best government. People say democracy is the least worst. Democracy is the worst type of government except for all the rest. Se dice algo así. La democracia es la forma peor de gobernar, salvo todas las demás formas. All right. Which means you find no good way. Democracy in Athens. Of course, the Athenians, the Greeks, are famous for being the developers or the inventors, let's say, of the concept of democracy. But democracy always led to tyranny. It always led to despotism or to dictatorships. It was a problem back in the Greek times. They tried to do it in Rome during the Roman Republic in a certain way, and it didn't work, and it led to the Roman Empire, and with emperors, so more despotic, more tyrannical, more autocratic, but it's probably, now democracy works. In the United States it works, in Great Britain, in France, in Germany now, in Spain, Portugal, Mexico, it works. Does it work better than other forms of governance? Yes, it does. Despite its many drawbacks, inconvenientes, despite its many defects, it works better. Probably the ideal form of government would be a philosopher king, like Plato suggests, or a benevolent dictator who is intelligent, hard-working, and benevolent, who looks out for the good of the people. But that becomes very paternalistic, and there isn't usually, it just doesn't work in the long run. Dictators, it doesn't work. In Spain, it was with Franco. The only positive thing about Franco really was that he was in power for 36 years. And during 34 of those 36 years, he was also the prime minister. He was head of state and prime minister. So he was the big boss, and there were no other big bosses, only him. Between 1939 and 1973, when he named Carrero Blanco prime minister, presidente de gobierno, prime minister. And Carrero, of course, was assassinated a few months later, about 8 or 10 months later. And then Carlos Arias Navarro, until the death of Franco. Now, it's the only thing that it provided was political stability, but not the right kind of political stability. If you believe in a democratic system, then it's frustrating to have a dictator. But the question is, can Spain operate properly within a democratic system? I think so. Because for the past 40 years, Spain has been able to do it. 42 years since, I think, 1977 was the passing of the Constitution. 1978? When was the Constitution passed? I think it was 77 or 78. And so Spain for 40 years has been able to successfully move forward with a democratic system. But most Spanish people believe that it's muy mejorable. It can be improved on. And there are a lot of things that need to be changed, perhaps. Some people think this way, other people don't. It's an interesting question. We'll see how things. I'm I don't like parliamentary systems, but it's the most common democratic system in the world. There are two types of systems that are operated through a democratic process. And those are the presidentialist systems and the parliamentary systems. Now, let's look at Spain and the United States. And you will see these are two different systems. In Spain, it's a parliamentary system. Pedro Sánchez, right now, as I speak to you, is el primer ministro, the prime minister. En España no se le llama eso, se llama presidente del gobierno, pero no lo es, no es presidente, es un ministro, pero el primer ministro. He's a member of the Spanish parliament, which means he is a member of the legislative branch. And at the same time, he is in charge of the executive branch. In a democratic system, there are three branches. Traditionally, there are three branches of government. The executive branch, which is the president, and the cabinet, the ministerial cabinet, el Consejo de Ministros, y luego subsecretarios, directores generales. That's the ejecuta las leyes aprobadas por el Congreso. So that's the executive branch because they execute, they carry out the law. They control the police. They control the military. That's the executive branch. And then we have the legislative branch, in which you have representatives of the people who represent different regions or provinces or states, and they are in the legislature, which in the United States is called Congress, and which in Spain is called el Congreso de Diputados y el Senado. In the United States, the legislative branch consists of two chambers. En español se dice consiste en, pero también consta de. So en inglés consists of, consiste de, decimos. It consists of the House of Representatives, which is the equivalent of the Congreso de Diputados, and the Senate. And the representation is different in each one. The House of Representatives is based on proportional representation, which means that California, as the biggest state in population, has the most representatives. New York as the second, no, I think Texas now, New York as the second biggest, and then Texas. And Wyoming is the smallest state in the United States in population, and it maybe has 2 or 3 representatives only, or 4, I don't know. So the House of Representatives is proportional. The Senate is direct, 2 senators per state. So California has 2 senators, and Wyoming has 2 senators. So in the Senate, the state of California and the state of Wyoming have the same power. In the House of Representatives, no. California has much more power because it has about 50 representatives, and Wyoming has maybe 4 or 3 representatives because of population. So it's these 2 chambers. It's important because in this case, Wyoming has power. The state of Wyoming, for example, if the state of California, if all of the most populous states, imagine New York, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Florida, Texas, and California, probably these 8 states that I have mentioned have at least maybe half of all the representatives, or a majority in the House of Representatives. And let's say that there is a piece of legislation, a bill es un proyecto de ley, that is designed to benefit densely populated states. But the bill clearly could be detrimental for states with a low population density. And so California, Texas, Massachusetts, New York, Virginia, New Jersey, Florida, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan. All of these states vote in favor of this bill, and they have a majority in the House of Representatives because they have more representatives from their states. And so the bill is passed. But this bill is detrimental for Kansas, South Dakota, Alaska, Hawaii, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, etc. And so this bill is passed, aprobado, by the House of Representatives, but before it goes to the desk of the president, it has to pass through the Senate. Now, in the Senate, every state has only 2 representatives. It's equal representation among the states. And so in this case, if there are, of the 50 states, if 26 of the states vote no, both senators, 52 senators vote no, well, the bill dies in the Senate. And the Senate sends the bill back to the House of Representatives. Bill, repito, es un proyecto de ley. The bill, B-I-L-L, como Guillermo, bill. Bill Hewlett. Bill. Kill Bill. Well, in this case, the Senate kills the bill. And the bill goes back. And so in this case, the smaller states in population who are underrepresented in the House of Representatives, they have greater influence and power and control in the Senate. But then there's a third control, because if the Senate passes the bill and it goes to the desk of Donald Trump, who's the current president of the United States, he can veto it. To veto is poner el veto. No, rechazado. And the president, who is the leader of the executive branch, can refuse to sign the bill from the legislative branch and send it back to the Senate. And then the Senate or the House of Representatives have to modify it, change it, or try to override the veto of the President of the United States. Now, to override, sobremontar, literalmente, como montar a caballo, to ride, to override, doble R medio, override, to override the veto, they need 2/3 vote, 2 tercios del Congreso. And that's not easy. So when a president vetoes a bill and sends it back from the executive branch to the legislative branch, the legislative branch has to pass the bill again with a very important majority in order to nullify the president's veto, in which case the legislative branch is stronger in this particular case or concerning this particular bill. It's a very good system the way it's set up. It's a presidentialist system. The President of the United States is elected directly by the people. Pedro Sanchez here is not. People vote for the Socialist Party, not for Pedro Sanchez. Maybe they're thinking of Pedro if they vote for the Socialist Party, but they're voting for the party and the members of the parliament. Whereas in the United States, they're voting directly for Donald Trump or for Hillary Clinton. And then you also have the vote for senators and representatives, but it's different. And the third branch, of course, is the judicial branch. These are the 3 branches of government: the executive branch, the judicial branch, and the legislative branch. And the judicial branch is made up of judges, circuit judges, regional judges, and the judges of the Supreme Court. And these judges can interpret the laws and declare certain laws unconstitutional, which requires that the legislative branch was go back and modify, change the law, or repeal the law, which is quitar los libros. Ya no es ley. They repeal. To aprobar una ley, derogar, ¿no? Una ley. That's to repeal. Repeal escrito. To repeal the law. It's interesting, but that's a presidential system. I'll come right back after the break.